Hello everyone, and welcome to another session of the Masters Club by the Masters for the Masters. This initiative by Code, we began it back in September 2020, and we have had sessions with many experts from the industry giving us insights and sharing us their knowledge and experience and so on. And today, with what I would like to call the finale of season one or something like that, I am very proud, honored, and privileged to have with us here today Dr. Bart Jaworski. He's a senior product manager at Microsoft, and he's also a product management instructor. I thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
I'm very happy to hear that, and I'm finally happy to be on a webinar hosted in my very own Skype. So since
Yes.
I'm a product manager of this medium we are using, I can officially say that this webinar is sponsored by Skype. It's
Yes.
done in my working hours.
It's really cool. We are loving the interface and we are loving the all new added features and everything. And it's really cool that we get to talk through Skype itself. First of all, I would like to start by asking, how did you get into this career? Why did you choose product management?
Well, like for many product managers, it wasn't a conscious choice. It was something that you land on in. I had started in a small company called Edibu. They help recruiters post many job boards, many job postings to several job boards at the same time. And I made a journey there where I started as a low-level tech that helped put more and more job boards to the system. And since I was the expert on integrations, I then evolved into client support and client support manager that exposed me to clients' needs, to seeing more and more bugs, seeing more and more improvements. And then that slided me towards project management back then, because I weren't making any product calls yet. I was only making sure that developers are on track with what needs to be delivered. And at some point, I started making the calls. I started making the decisions. I was given a mission to run the product in a specific direction. And I loved it. I loved to be able to hear out someone's needs, address them, and see how the product is evolving. And that really set me off to the journey that I wanted to commit to this career. Because back then, even though I was called a product manager, I did significant subset of product management duties. I had no real credentials that would help me to easily switch to a different company. And that's another story that I could give you on how I managed to finally achieve that. But it was a lot of effort. Like it is for many people who want to switch to this particular career. I think you're muted.
Yeah. How would you describe a typical day at Microsoft with the product management and everything? How would you like to, describe a typical day of your work?
So given that many of my most important stakeholders are American, surprisingly, my mornings and early afternoons are quite peaceful, which is awesome because I can have a long sleep. I can do whatever in the morning. I usually have very few meetings then, so it leaves me a lot of time to talk to the team on the daily meeting and then prepare all the documents, all the analysis, research I need to do. Obviously check my emails, check my to-do list, make sure that the backlog is in order, prepare for any upcoming meetings. And then when the 3 or 4 o'clock strikes, then the usual combination of meetings that more single time zone centered product managers have spread throughout the day begins for me. And I usually have 2, 3 to 4 meetings, which comes with the downside of sometimes staying up late. But again, it's then compensated that I have a little bit more breathing space in the morning. And so far it's been just in terms of the balance, because there are evenings where the work finishes at a reasonable, normal time. Sometimes I do have to stay late, but well, everything has its pros and cons, and it's not the worst con in the world, given the wonderful environment and great people I work with.
Cool. So, what is one thing you would say that you like the most about this job, and what is one thing you would say is the most challenging about this job?
Well, given that I'm a lonely child that always seeks approval, then seeing positive reaction to your ideas, to your changes from the stakeholders, and then from the users in forms of growing KPIs is what really drives me. And uh, what is always the most difficult is to get your prioritization straight and get your priorities straight. Because if you have a list that is gigantic, where you have 40, 20, 50 things to do, then you can go into the panic mode. And this is the mental challenge of, even if you have lots of things to do, to be able not only to know what's most important and to focus on that and ignore anything else, or at least give it as few attention as possible without going mad. So making sure that you spend your time optimally and produce the most value within the limited resources, which is not only time, but your concentration, your energy levels, the capacity of your brain, is like always the greatest challenge for any PM, and for me too. I think I got really good at it over the years, but there are times where I still can improve, and I don't think anyone will get that 100% right. And it's also comforting, but I don't, because I hope that machine learning won't be able to do that anytime soon too.
So, it's an ever learning process, right?
Exactly.
So, what are some advices that you would like to give for someone like me, for a newcomer who's just, getting started with this, who's just learning about this? Or like, what skills do you think are most important for someone who's interested in a job like this?
So I think, first of all, when it comes to advice, I would say be patient and be forgiving to yourself. Uh, Unless you are extremely lucky, you are a unicorn and you just go directly from university to a junior product manager position, then it will be a slightly longer way, which will require lots of energy, lots of learning, and be prepared for that, and don't beat yourself up if it takes longer time or if it's difficult. It's a difficult journey to take, and be ready for the hardship, because hardship will be there always with you, whether if it's an unreasonable stakeholder or a difficult product decision or lacking resources. It comes with the job. So even if coming to the job is difficult, it's actually preparing you for the challenges ahead too. In terms of skills, I would say that the best thing you can do is to practice your leadership and people skills, so that you can create a group of people who can really help you create those awesome products. PM will never do anything alone. He's just a facilitator of ideas that come around. Even if it's his or her own idea, it's still a small element in the bigger puzzle that creates the process that births an actual product. So if you can create a support group, people who trust you, who want you to succeed, then it's the best skill you can have. Obviously, there are stuff like data analysis, there are stuff like technical prowess that really helps you. But if you tell me what's the most important, like in life, it's the people around you, and everything else can be learned later, as long as there are people who help you reach those higher planes.
So as you said, people skills comes first. And when we come to the technical skills, what are some technical skills that you would tell us to, brush up on or have an understanding about if we want to get into this field?
I think the most universal knowledge you can obtain is the um, realization how any cloud software works. What is the structure? What are the companies that provide such services? What are the options, downsides, pros, this kind of stuff. Be prowess in cloud networking, but not to a point that you are able to set up a cloud server or configure an AWS account. No, you just need to have the right vocabulary, the right understanding, and a high-level overview where you are comfortable talking about it and being able to understand what people want from you. It's very important to understand what an API, application programmable interface, is, which is basically a gateway that allows companies to exchange information between other products so that they can embed those functionalities inside their own products. Being um, fluent in the API language. Again, it's about language understanding and being able to talk about it, not being able to write your own API or connect to any API. It's knowing the pros, cons, weak sides, and being comfortable with this knowledge. So you can then use it to talk to your developers. So that's cloud computing, that's API, that's databases. Also, that's very universal skill, technical skill you can obtain. But again, it's all about understanding the concepts, the subject matter. With databases, you can actually go a bit further and learn how to query, so ask the database for results. And I would say you can go as far as being able to ask a question that involves picking up data from several tables. It's so-called joins. And I think this is as far as product managers should go without deviating too much from the focus on their own career. The bonus technical ability here is to get any technical knowledge you need to talk to your developers and understand your process. Just know what are the hardships and the challenges your team faces in their day-to-day duties, how they manage software, how they release it, what does a piece of code need to go through before it is presented to the clients, and that will give you a solid foundation. One more thing that I recall is aspect of software development called version control. It's represented by stuff like GitHub, where you are able to work in parallel on the same piece of code between different teams and users, and then have all the means of putting it together into a single working code base, and also keeping different versions of this code base in parallel so that you can match and compare, or if there's something really bad, recall a previous version to get a working software to the users. Those would be the tech skills I believe will help you out. But again, you don't need to be a developer, database engineer, or anything. Just be as how to compare. If you like books, you have probably read some books, and there are some that you just know the general plot details and characters. Something like when in school you don't really want to read a whole book, but you need details to pass the exam. That's the high level detail you need to be fluent in the technical aspect of product management.
So thank you so much for that very, detailed pointers. So, as an aspiring PM myself, who do you recommend I should be talking to, or I should be, expanding my network with, and what resources should I be looking up to?
Ooh, that's a good question. For me, before I discovered that I am a product manager in a startup that actually doesn't know anything about proper product management, there is this product management school in Great Britain called Product Focus. For me, their free materials were a very good kickoff uh, point to start gathering the knowledge and gathering to know what I don't know. They also have a very fancy, I think it's 1,500 or 1,600 pounds course that you can take remotely or with them that will help. There's also lots of webinars for product managers that another school um, host. It's called, well, Product School. This is like the biggest product management entity, and they have like very, very fancy, I think $5,000 courses. But if you cherry pick their free events, some of them are excellent and really teach you some first-hand knowledge. Others will be just a bit of not optimally spent time, let's just say, but you can tell very quickly whether the host knows can help you out with additional knowledge or not. Obviously, I have my own Udemy course that I would like to invite everyone to take. It's about what? It's 11 hours plus bonus material. It's two figures and not four. And if you reach out to me on LinkedIn, I'm gladly will give a huge discount just to get more knowledge and practical information, day-to-day product management tips shared. But I'm not the only person on LinkedIn that helps out. There's many more people from Microsoft that also help out junior product managers, like my colleague Diego. There's excellent person. I really can't recall his name at the moment, but he's known as the biggest product management humor expert. And we do have a competition now that I'm bound to lose on who gets to help 100 people to get into product management first, as in getting hired. He is there in the LinkedIn network far longer than me. His network is, I think, 10 times bigger than mine, and he does excellent job. And generally, when you reach out to people who are knowingly spread, no, not knowingly spread, who consciously make the effort to spread the knowledge about product management, you will find that we, the product managers, are essentially built in a way to share knowledge, to be open, transparent, and I think that myself and any other product management tutor, expert, influencer out there will gladly accept any join invite, will help to provide materials on learning and give some advice. We are usually very low on time, so forgive me or my colleagues if we say that we are not able to give you like a free half an hour mentoring session, but I'm pretty sure that any one of us will give you all the right directions in writing whenever requested.
And yes, as you mentioned about the course, I'm someone who took it, and it was an excellently formed course. So something I would like to talk about from the course is that there's a part where you mention about the side hustles an aspiring PM can take up. So can you talk a bit about that?
Yes, there's a big mental blockade that you think that there is a chicken and an egg situation. The product managers being hired are usually the ones that already have lots of experience. But how can you get an experience? How can you get experience if you're never hired? And it's a problem that many professions suffer from. However, product management is this thing that you can, well, easily take in-house on your own with the difference that you won't be working with a team, but you'll take your very own project. And that can be very many things, like having your own blog, like having your own Udemy course on a subject that you feel you can learn. That is perhaps collecting stock footage that you sell to specific websites, and or perhaps having a YouTube channel or an influencer career. Anything not to basically start your to have a different job. I I don't think that I would be ready to commit to full-time product management teaching, because that's not what I think I would like to do for all of the time. And also it would really kill my credentials if I only taught and not progressed myself and learned new stuff on the way that I could share. Sorry. But it's all about learning. It's all about setting yourself goals that you say, I have a YouTube channel. I want to, well, stream Minecraft. Let's say the Minecraft is the most popular thing to get YouTube views on. My goal is to, within 6 months, get X amount of subscribers or monetize channel, whatever. Set yourself goals that are reasonable, that are measurable, achievable, and there comes the actual product management path where you need to watch what's happening with the channel, do stuff that help to promote it, see what works, what doesn't, and create yourself a story of the product that you've started and then nurtured to a level of success. If you fail, that's still okay. You still got your experience, you still have your story, you still can say what you know worked, what didn't work, and what would you have done if you had more time or whatever. It's all about being able to put that on a CV, tell a convincing young product manager story that has some kind of success, and be miles away ahead of candidates who never put that effort on and just completed their bachelor's, master's, and applied to a product manager not course, internship or a junior position. If this if this sorry um, side hustle is accompanied with courses, books, and general focus on becoming a product manager and getting the right skills, that also gives you the right vocabulary to present your story in a way that, hey, I have a potential product manager in front of me. This girl, this guy knows what she is doing, and he's worth to give this internship.
Thank you for those insights as well. So, when would you say is the right time to start preparing for an PM interview? Let's say I have an interview next year, Jan. When would be the right time? Like 6 months or 4 months or a month before? When would you say is the right time to start preparing?
Okay, so if you have the interview in 6 weeks, we have now today, so start 6 weeks ago. So the soonest you can, the soonest you make the decision, there's no time to spare. And I don't mean like throw away your life and just do product management. Treat it as your hobby. Spend an hour or two a day browsing LinkedIn, checking out books, maybe watch some videos on product management, read some product stories. Make it something that you do a little bit every day, and this will, in time, stack to the incredible level of insights. So it's not about being preparing yourself for a specific job interview that is X amount of weeks, months ahead, but instead just prepare yourself for a job interview. So if you are waken up in the middle of the night by a recruiter asking you questions on product management, you are already well prepared to answer them, despite being put out from sleep in the middle of the night. And let me say, that would be one creepy job interview.
Yes. Once again, that's so much that we learned in this session, and thank you so much for joining us. Once again, as always, it's been a pleasure, and I hope that you go on spreading knowledge and go on inspiring more people like us. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to finally have my first session where I show Skype as a medium that, well, is coming back. You are seeing a trend of nostalgia items that come back from the 90s, 2000s, and Skype is now given a lot of love. There were some bad turns on the way, but now there's a lot of great people who want to see it succeed, including me, and we're doing our best to absolutely make the best, easiest experience to meet each other, to experience those interviews or just your loved ones, or become an influencer and have people that you meet and spread knowledge, spread points. And well, Skype is here for you, and it will keep on getting better and better. I promise you that. Thank you for
As I
having me.
said before, we are loving the we are loving how it looks, and we are loving all the features. So again, all the best wishes to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
It was my pleasure. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.